Welcome to the Engineering Influence Podcast from ACEC. We're coming to you from our 2025 Fall Conference. And if you're following along with us, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell on YouTube. It really does help the channel get out to more people. And we want to do that because today we're talking about a very important thing, and that is encouraging young leaders. And I'm very pleased to be joined by Arthur Jones, TYLin. He is our past president, ACEC Metro Washington. Arthur, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Jeff.
I want to, get into this with you because you've been really engaged for a long time in mentoring and trying to get the future, the generation of future leaders established. Talk about your work at TYLin, a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing in this area.
Well, thanks, Jeff. So I'm a transplant from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I have lived in Prince George's County for about 30 years. I kind of say it this way. That's where I live, work, and play.
Yeah.
Married for 22 years. I have three children. At TYLin, I am the Mid-Atlantic Vice President of our water sector. And I love what I did in engineering.
That's great. I mean, was engineering something that was always in the future for you? How did you find yourself to the industry?
So that's interesting. So my dad was an engineer. He studied in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And so at 10 years old, he got me writing about his projects.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do, Dad? I did like it. Christmas time, we're doing budgets, right? And so he was grilling me at an early age. And so I had a mentor. I didn't know I had a mentor, but he was a mentor, just like typical engineer, very strategic. Yeah.
The running the family, how about your kids? Are you pushing them towards it too?
I believe everybody should be an engineer. Just from the beginning, right? It helps you with your strategic thinking and very organized. And then you can be something else, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter just graduated from University of Maryland. She's 21. She got into architecture.
Future engineer possibly in at least an architect.
No, she definitely wants to do engineering. And then my son, who's 10, little Arthur, he wants to his plan, he's going to be an engineer and then a lawyer because he talks a lot of smack.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So,
oh, that's a dual threat right there. That's got to watch out.
That's right.
Yeah, whenever you see somebody with like two of those careers or two of those degrees, you got to like, wow. It's like the doctor, lawyer, engineer, lawyer, right?
But no pressure. So,
that's only 10 years old. You got to start him on the track early. I think engineering is better than law. I
totally agree.
Don't tell my wife. Anyway. Let's use the lawyer. So STEM and has been really all your life, really. It's been something you grew up with. I mean, it's something that you're passionate about as well. How's that coming out now with your work with TYLin and with the, next generation of professionals?
I think for me, it's important to get the future workforce right.
Yeah.
Right. And so at TYLin, we have a day where we work. It's called Together Day, where we're working together to volunteer. What I love about TYLin, they give you the flexibility to go and nurture the future generation. And so as a leader of my organization, I encourage that within my group and across the company. As you know, 20 years ago, I started a mentoring program.
Mentoring to manhood.
Called Mentoring to Manhood. And it's not called Community Youth Advance. And so, there's always been instilled in me, to whom much is given, much is required. And so I've always kind of had that servant leadership personality. And so 20 years ago, I was a young father, young husband. My daughter was a year or two. And so when in Prince George's County, I heard the statistics of young African-American men not having father figures. And so, it's time to do something. And so the way so at the time I'd finished my bachelor's in civil engineering, my environmental master's in engineering from Maryland, and then my MBA from George Mason. And so I had, there was a point where I was like, well, what do I do? How do I contribute? How do I support? And so it was really kind of a divine moment. I'm going through and thinking, crying out, what can I do? How can I make an impact?
Yeah.
And it was, I could remember it like it was yesterday. My daughter, I was doing last minute shopping for my wife during Christmas. So this was not too far from the house. And my daughter gravitated to another young gentleman who had a daughter who was about the same age.
Yeah.
And so, we were like, hey, I guess, we need to say hello.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. And so we said hello. And he called me about a week ago. He said, God had put something on my heart to start a nonprofit organization to mentor boys. And I was like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And we found out we had a lot in common. And so, so that's how it started. It's the way I look at it is these are the decision makers that are going to impact what we do. And so how can we contribute? So I think everybody needs to play a part in that.
Yeah. It is the untapped talent that exists that is out there is amazing. And all you need is that spark or that opportunity to get the foundation to actually build that and become what you could be.
Yes.
And having that avenue and that place to go that can help navigate that path, right, is so critical.
Yeah, no, I love the word you use, spark, right? And so I was groomed without knowing it, right?
Yeah.
And so with the mentoring program, it's like some of these inner city kids have not been exposed, but you see the spark when you engage, right?
Yeah, I mean, how many engineers do you think or people within the industry or whatever, the built environment, whether it's an engineer or someone who's engaged with it, you think have come out of that program, or at least gotten that idea to say, hey, I could do this, I can do STEM, I can do math, I can do science, so I can go into this.
Right. And so somebody asked me that question. It's something you don't track, right? Because if you think about it, over a 20-year period, you influence the kids, and then sometimes you lose track of them.
Yeah.
And so we've seen a couple kids who have actually totally changed their lives, right? But that's the beauty of what you do. You don't know the impact that you have, right? And so the program is just taking and initially started with boys, right?
Yes.
Just mentoring, tutoring.
Yeah.
And then at some point we realized, their mother had an impact. For the most part, they were pretty excited bringing them out to, and so we started engaging the parents as well.
Yeah.
And so it's, you have to keep at it. Sometimes you see the fruit, and then sometimes you don't. But at least you're changing lives, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing for me now. It's like, I want to see, and then sometimes like my nephew, he wants to be an engineer, but that's not how he started.
Yeah.
I'm sure just the way you carry yourself and the passion you have about the industry translates.
Yeah, it's getting those skills early and the confidence, to believe in yourself and be able to pursue your goals, whatever those goals are.
Right. And the thing is, people think engineering, think math, science, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much to be done in engineering. Just bring your core strength, bring yourself, bring your, what makes you different.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of the message.
That's really one of the things that we're always trying to fight back against, is that idea of saying, you don't have to be a genius at math and science to do that, right? You got to have a desire to leave the world a better place than you found it, or to solve a problem, right? And it's finding those people who can think that way and encouraging them to follow it, right? And to take that path and say, you know what, maybe engineering is something for me. No, that's a powerful thing, because if you don't have exposure to that early on, it's not like you turn on the television and you see, engineers all over the place that are like that role model that just, people fall into.
Yeah. What you find out, people are impacted by engineering, but they don't know engineers.
Exactly.
Right. And so when you tell them, did you know engineers, the water you drink, or the building you're in, and so you try to make the connection that you can relate to me, Yeah. So
So what's the next? I mean, 20 years growing an organization. Yeah, what's next? How are you gonna? What's the next step? What does the future look like for CYA? What does it look like for helping continuing to engage those young professionals and those emerging leaders?
So when we started CYA, we started, going around the neighborhood, passing flyers.
Yeah.
Nobody came the first time, and we kept doing it, right? And we got into a school and started mentoring. And so initially, it was focused on boys. It was focused on life skills and experiences and exposure, right?
Yeah.
And so CYA has grown tremendously. So from just boys, now community youth events,
Yeah.
focus throughout the year, and they focus on after school hours.
Yeah.
They focus on weekends. They focus on summer programs, right? And so, and what I like about what they're doing the tutoring piece, they're doing the mentoring as well as pathways.
Yeah.
And so I am excited at what they're doing, and my vision for CYA in the next 20 years is they integrate with organizations like ACEC, where they expose, they get to interact with engineers, they get to see what engineers did, and so just double down on the workforce development piece.
That's a big thing because we put so much of a focus on E-Week, right? When the firms say, okay, yeah, we're going to get into the schools and we're going to make that 1 week a year pitch, but you don't have the other weeks. What are you going to do with the other weeks of the year where those kids aren't getting the exposure to it?
Right.
And a group like CYA provides that constant exposure and increases the odds of people sticking with it.
Yes. And one of the things I really enjoyed that we did, so when I was a chair for ACEC Metro Washington last year, my chairship ended in end of June.
Yeah.
We were able to take the emerging leaders. They developed a curriculum for STEM. They had a workforce capstone. They had an AI. And so we took that curriculum. We engaged with community youth advance, and over the summer, we had a program where we're able to expose them to engineering design, safety and construction.
Yeah.
And then also we were able to connect with our clients, WSSC, which is the 8th largest utility in Maryland. And they were able to go out and see the dams and see control centers and basically see the water treatment plant. And what I really enjoyed about it, you could just see the joy in their faces, like, oh my God, they were so excited.
Yeah.
That was exciting.
That's the thing, because with the Engineering Public Works Roadshow that we're doing with APWA and ASCE, we've done a couple of events. We did one in Colorado, and we did one in, we did one in DC,
I was part of that.
Yeah, that was great because the Infrastructure Academy right there.
Yeah.
That's giving, these young adults direct hands-on experience. But then, we were up at the Minnesota Zoo and looked at the Treetop Trail renovation project. And the kids were involved with that. Students were involved with that. And it's one thing to abstractly hear about this stuff in class, but then to actually go out to a facility and see it is a whole different thing. And it really does. You could see it on their faces that it was like, wow, this is cool, right? This is something which is like, I get it now, right? And there needs to be more of that.
Yeah, the spark that you talked about.
Yeah.
I remember 20 years ago, we took one of the kids. We took him on trips to Voice of America in DC or the Pentagon. And so, typical kid, just sitting back, bored. And then the CEO said, well, we have jobs over the summer. And he perked up and he was like, can I get a job? So it's the spark that you talked about.
Yeah, exactly.
Just disengaging that.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think it is an important piece with the workforce committee that we're working with the Engineering Workforce Consortium. There are all these groups out there, Army Corps, you've got, all the public water, the utilities authorities, all the public works people. And it's tying that together. And it's like saying, okay, we can bring in the kids. You guys have the facilities. Let's have these tours. Let's do this on a consistent basis. Then let's create a sustained, lasting program.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And that's the thing, right? First, you have to build trust, right? So what we found out over the years, some of these kids in the inner city, it's been hard for them to trust because they've been let down so many times. So just that consistency, we're able to build the trust. And after we build the trust, now they're open to what you're able to teach them. And so again, and what you found out, you have little subsets. Everybody's trying to do their own little piece. So I like what you said. Have something where you have different programs. Now it's just a matter of exposing the kids and bringing the kids.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate about Community Youth Advance. Over the summer, is about 90 kids that we were able to take to these different places.
Yeah.
And the clients are open because they understand the importance of, And I think the last piece for me is there's a whole diversity of thought, right? And so if you get those kids exposed, you can bring them in. They give you a whole different perspective in solving problems that we need to solve.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can't be stagnant in thinking. You've got to, if you're building something in a community to improve it, you got to have that feedback from the community who's going to be using it. And one way of thinking is never going to fix anything. It is that we always find that, the project teams that are diverse in terms of experience, background, that they approach problems differently.
Yes.
And the solutions might be novel, and they might be, I never thought about that way, because you have your own little group of thinking and you get closed off. Right. And if you can bring in these other voices, they can, go after a problem with a solution that's different.
Again, over 20 years, one of the things that I really appreciated, I went in, when we started, we were like, we're going to teach these kids X, Y, and you'll go sit in the classroom and lecture to them. No, didn't work.
Engage them, get that
hands-on. Yeah. And then it was one of those things where we walked away like, oh my goodness, some of the thoughts and ideas that these kids have. Yeah. So you're blown away. And that's what I've seen over the years. It's like, they may not have, in some cases, they may not have the mathematical skills. Yeah. These kids are smart beyond years, just street smart. So, or you have some really smart ones, and we're just like, if only could harness them and then get them to understand, and again, we talk about impact. Yeah. Explain to them the impact of engineering. I don't think they understand it. Then if you don't have anybody who's been an engineer,
how are you going to know?
How do you connect?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's the part, like in my case, I'm grooming my kids, but I'm grooming the other kids.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. And so that's kind of why I do what I do.
Well, I put a call out there. Anybody in the DC metro area who's not engaged with CYA, wants to get involved. You're a firm in the area that wants to get plugged into the community. This is a good way of doing it.
Yes, at communityyouthadvance.org. There's the website, and they have a gala coming up on October 25th.
Oh, fantastic!
Celebrating our 20th year anniversary, and Unleashing the Brilliance is the title.
Perfect. That's great. Arthur, I really appreciate it. I mean, this is a great example of engineers giving back to the community, trying to get that next generation going, and keeping it going. And I really appreciate you sharing the story with us.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think the last piece for me is for young leaders, get involved.
Yeah.
Don't wait till you know enough. When I started, all I knew was, I'd gone through the training, but I didn't know how to interact with kids.
Yeah.
And now I go out there, I light up because it's exciting. You want to create a generational tool. You want to make sure that these future leaders, you're imparting into them. And so bring your time. In some cases, you only have time. You don't have enough resources. In some cases, you have resources, right? And so bring whatever you have. Yeah. These kids need you. Right, and you can make a difference.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think the parting thought here is, a lot of the workforce challenges that we face, especially with the next generation of potential engineers, we can actually solve it if we did something. You don't need a program, you don't need a structure, you just need the ability and the energy to go and actually do something. Engage.
Yeah, and one way to get the youngest folks engaged over the summer, some of the older folks were not able to make it because of business obligation.
Yeah.
The younger kids, they were able to relate. The younger engineers,
Are you really doing that?
and they were like super excited. So that's one way of bringing in younger engineers and then reaching. So each one teach one is what we typically say at CYA, right?
There you go. Well, congratulations, Art. 20 years, good work.
Thank you, sir.
Keep it going.
Appreciate it.
And again, this has been Engineering Influence podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. See you next time.